It's Bernadette. I'm back. I've been driving since Sunday. Driving up to Canada, then I drove to Portland yesterday all day. I got back Tuesday night and drove to Portland yesterday to take my friend, my Navajo brother, back to his daughter's house. And then that was all day. Me and Bella drove there. And then I just drove to Seattle to pick up my cousin's car from Hawaii. It shipped in. So I'm back. I've had a bunch of messages from you guys trying to reach me, asking me if I'm working, and I am as of right now. And I look like a mess. I'm tired. I don't have any makeup on. I got a sty in my eyebrow and some interesting stuff. So I want to share some stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to share anything that is not to be shared, but I've got some important stuff I want to talk to you guys about because of what happened, because of the journey that I just went on with my friend, who is what we call a roadman in the Native American church. And he's a wonderful, blessed brother of mine. They're the ones that saved my life. And I looked at some of the comments on the video when I said I was going to travel with him and we were going. And a couple people are like, oh, I want to do that. I want to go have ceremonies done or sit in a ceremony with the Navajos. So the meeting, the ceremony, we call them meetings, that we went to up in Canada turned out to be a very different meeting than we were both expecting, and very different people joining in. A lot of hippies. I've been to one other hippie meeting. I walked out of that meeting, but my friend that ran this meeting, I would never walk out of a ceremony on him because he holds it tight. Him and I held it tight with that meeting. We were the only ones that held that ceremony together. And I was very upset with the way they treated him. A lot of white people, and let me make this clear. I have nothing against white people. I have a lot of problems with the white man mentality. And I hope you guys can separate that, because what I'm about to tell you, you know, I don't know that a lot of people would share with you, but I've got an inside, track. My friend was very gracious. My brother is like, thanks, Andrea, was like, I'm so glad you were there. Because we got to spend alone time together, which when I'm over at their place in Arizona, there's always family around. There's always a bunch going on. When we're doing ceremony, there's always a bunch to prepare. We don't get a lot of time to talk by ourselves, not hours. Like, we traveled 6 hours up and got to speak alone. And then another hour, whatever, drive to where we went to where the ceremony was going to be held, where he was going to do the ceremony. And then coming home another 6 hours, and then to Portland, like another 4 hours. We finally he got to know me. I got to know him more. He knows about my gifts, but he never really asked about it. And we knew this was lining up for a reason. I prayed a couple weeks ago. I wanted to sit up in a ceremony again with them. And I will only sit up with his family. I will only do ceremony with his family, because I've been to some other ones and they go squirrely, and it's sacred. Okay. Sacred. And my friend does share these ceremonies out with some people that have joined the Native American church that are white. And they try to do these ceremonies, but they don't hold the ceremony the same. They don't hold it sacred. They don't understand the prayers. They don't understand a lot of the stuff that goes on in the TP. And I know you guys all, you wish I could tell you, but there's certain things I will never tell anybody about, because it is sacred. You have to be invited in there. So to the people who commented, I want to do that. I've been wanting to go to Navajo country, or I want to go to the res, and I want to take part in these native ceremonies. Look, if you are blessed like me, when I had cancer and I prayed, I need help, and they happen upon your path, someone powerful like that, and they invite you, that's one thing. To go looking for these things, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of Native American church ceremonies going on where they're doing peyote, and it's not real. It's run by white guys that are trained by some natives, but it's not the same. It's not the same. The medicine's the same, but that medicine can be used for good. It can be used for evil or ego. And you're not going to get the same results. And the way they held that ceremony this weekend, oh my God. Thank God my friend is good, like solid. Seriously, we're the only two. Everyone else. And this is what happens when you go and do Native American ceremonies for the wrong reasons, or you're doing drugs and there's people in there that were on drugs. He told them not to try and, they mix and they do ayahuasca ceremonies. That keeps coming up. Some of you that follow me have asked me, what do I think about ayahuasca? I think it's dangerous, especially because of the way the ayahuasca ceremonies are being done here. It's medicine. Peyote's medicine. Even marijuana is medicine, not meant to be used for recreation. So like I said, this live stream is not a normal live stream that I would do. This has been on my heart for many years since I've met them and watched the things going around on in Indian country and how the natives get taken advantage of. They have good hearts. My friend has such a giving heart, but I want to spread our ways. I want people to understand the blessings that, but here's the deal, you guys. It's a way of life. To do these ceremonies and teepee ceremonies, stuff like that, it's not an easy thing. You're sitting 12 hours. You're struggling for most of the night. You're awake and it's hard. It's hard. Your ego goes off. Anything in you that's dark gets brought up. It gets worked on. And it's hard. You suffer. You're uncomfortable. You have to sit still through that. You don't move around. You pay attention to everything that's going on in there. That's not what happened in this meeting. It was horrible, the way they acted. And then they made fun of my friend when he was out. He didn't know because he does part of the ceremony at midnight. He goes out and brings a blessing and does prayers. When he was out of the teepee, it was like a bunch of little boys with dads away. And then they were talking about, I'm sitting right there and they're doing this. And I got to hold this until morning. We still got the rest of the night. We're only a few hours into the ceremony and I'm watching how disrespectful they were to my friend. On top of that, Sunday night we get there and they took us to a Hindu temple. And the way they walked into this Hindu temple, they're worshiping their gods, their deities. And they're all hippie peoples, right? White hippie people. The way they walked in there, pushed into their ceremony, I watched the elders in the back of the temple, not happy with the way they walked in there, all disrespectful, walking around, but they're mixing beliefs. So they go to Hindu temple, they do the peyote ceremonies, they go do ayahuasca, they smoke pot, they do all these different things. They do crystals. They wanted to bring all these hippie kids, bring their crystals into the teepee and ask my friend to bless them. And he's like, no, that's a whole different belief. You keep that out of the teepee. They didn't even take their stuff out of the teepee. Didn't. And then in the morning, they tried to bring in they did bring it in, Ganesha tapestry to lay some food on in the afternoon. And he's like, don't bring that in here while the fire's going, while the fire's set. Clear all the fire, end the ceremony, then bring that. Don't bring that in here. And I keep seeing this. So I had this thing years ago and I had so much fun. I just have to tell you guys, like I'm tired physically, but I had so much fun with my friend. Like we laughed and was able to help him. And I kind of went in there as his protector because I see things about people. And we found out some real touchy stuff this weekend, but now he's protected. His family's protected because they were trying to bring some more hippie stuff in with, you guys know David Avocado Wolf. They're like, oh yeah, let him go down to your place. You should let him. I'm like, no, Pat, don't. Don't let him. Whole other story. But when we went into that temple, it was weird. The whole thing was weird. And it's all these mixing of these things. And I told Pat years ago when I first met him, there's these people, the white guys, because he doesn't understand. They're on their reservation. They don't get exposed to all the stuff that you and I get exposed to. I can see all this stuff. You guys come to me, and I see everything that people are doing. You want to study this and you want to go study Buddhism. You want to go study Hinduism, go study Kabbalah, go study Christianity, the Bible, go study Native American beliefs. There's a thing called cultural appropriation or misappropriation that has been going on for decades now, where they take little things from the natives after everything they've done to desecrate their way of life. And they just, you see it at music festivals, Burning Man, put feathers in the hair. It's super offensive. Not right. Those things are meant for a purpose. They're sacred prayer objects. And what I saw in this meeting, Just blew my mind. And then I had to tell my friend, he asked me, and he had never asked me, why didn't you ever tell me these things? Because you never asked. And I'm like that with everything. I told you guys, if you don't ask me, I'm not going to tell you. And even if you ask me, if I'm not meant to tell you, I'm not going to tell you. I have that kind of a relationship with spirit. But I told him years ago, there's a thing that I see with these people, and I give everything nicknames so it makes sense to me. Spiritual tourism. And it's big. And people pay to do these ceremonies, pay to do ayahuasca ceremonies. People pay for shaman training with people who aren't raised up in the native ways where these things originated. They call it shamanism. It's not real shamanism. It's not real, you guys. Like, it's not. These ways aren't easy either. The native way of life is a hard road. It's a hard road to stay on that straight path. Buddhism will tell you the same thing. Kabbalah will tell you the same thing. Christianity will tell you the same thing, right? You can't mix these ways. You want to go study Wicca? Go study Wicca. Stick with it. You want to go study Christianity? Stick with it. You want to study Buddhism? That's not even a religion. It's meant to incorporate into your daily life. It's the spiritual path. You walk your path. Stop and don't do all the borrowing from all these traditions. But what went on in there, thankfully, saved my friend and his family from continuing to support these things out there that, they're coming in and smoking pot. The medicine turned on them. They all puked. The only two people that didn't puke was me and my friend. They're the only two people that held it up. That meeting was good for us. It was good for me. There's supposed to be a second one. We left. I pulled him out of there. I said, you're not doing it. I'm getting you out of here. We're going home. And he was all for it. Like, it was too wet. They weren't taking care of him. I had brought food. I prepared ahead of time. Spirit told me, make some organic food, take it with you. And by 12 o'clock, they haven't given him water. They haven't given him food. And back home where he comes from, the way our ceremonies go, you come out, you prepare a huge amount of food. You feed all of the people who stayed up all night and prayed for you. You honor them for holding your prayer. There's none of that until like noon. And there was like hummus and a loaf of bread and, potato chips. There's no coffee. Usually there's a ton of coffee. You sit in there and you listen to the teachings of the elder. None of that. They all just wanted, oh yeah, can I come to your place? Can I, and I'm not going to tell you guys his name because he's famous, and that's the problem. My friend is famous. He's a famous fan maker. He was the one who started getting the Navajo fans, the feathers out, and to people who are collectors. His work is in the Smithsonian. So in these circles, everybody knows his name. Everybody wants to call him friend. Everybody wants him to do a ceremony for them so they can say, oh, he did it, because he's well known. His family's very well known. And then he asked me, why do they want me to do these things? And if they're not taking it serious, because he just believes like I do, everyone's good. I said, but then you see through it. And I said, they're using you. They're using you. They want to say your name so people in the hippie community, their little followers, will follow them because they know you, because they have a picture next to you, because they own one of your fans, because they have your beadwork. Really disturbing to me, you guys. And I'm not happy that I even have to come on here and do this. I've slept on this 2 nights now. I've slept about this. I wanted to come on and talk to you guys about this. Don't get trapped in spiritual tourism. And what that means, and I'll explain to you guys what I explained to him, because he didn't understand what I meant by that years ago. And he asked me in depth, explain that to me. What is that? I don't understand that. Because with them, you follow traditional path. You follow traditional ways. You stick to that. You mean it. You are making a commitment to those ways. Spiritual tourism is, I'm going to go to India and go sit up in an ashram. Then I'm going to come home and I'm going to try Buddhism. And then I'm going to go over here and do an ayahuasca ceremony. Then I'm going to go sit over here and do a peyote ceremony because someone has, access to peyote, which isn't even legal for anyone who's not native here in America. Spiritual tourism is dangerous. You're disrespecting that way, that ceremony, those beliefs, those traditions. You don't mix them, right? I don't go in there talking about who I am and what I believe or I don't bring my things in there. I listen. I respect that way. I don't ever act like I'm better. The native way is a humble way. Most traditional spiritual paths that are real, humble. You don't go in there all puffed up looking for attention. Look what I know. Look at my crystals. Look at what, oh yeah, I did an ayahuasca ceremony and I saw this and I saw that. You don't do that. You respect them and you listen to them. If that elder is willing to talk to you and you're not native, listen. You'll learn something. Listen and follow what the protocols are. You go into a Hindu temple, don't walk in there like you're just visiting. Like, it's not okay. None of this is okay. And he's like, but it keeps spreading. This stuff's going to keep spreading. I'm like, you don't have to be a part of that. Yeah, it may keep spreading, but these ways and the spirits that protect these ways will make sure of it. And sure enough, that area, the river's changing course and taken out where they have their teepee grounds and permission to do their teepee ceremonies. It's taken it out. Nature is taking care of it. The river and the sacred ground there's taking care of it. I knew that if we didn't leave, because it was raining from midnight when they started making fun of my friend, all the way until we left at 1:30 in the afternoon the following day. I knew that we were going to get stuck there if we didn't honor it and get out. And we were the only ones who left. They didn't know we were leaving. They didn't know we were leaving the country either. We didn't tell them until yesterday that we were home. Like, no. I'm like, we don't need to know nothing. No. They came with wrong intentions. They came here thinking this was fun and games. That's not what those ceremonies, it's not fun and games at all. And a lot of stuff will come out of it. You play with that stuff. Like, this is not for the people who did all that, not going to be good for them. I'm blessed. I'm protected. My friend, blessed and protected. We had a great time and it turned out perfectly. Everything lined up for us to get home and some things lined up for him that made it easier for him because he was planning a trip back up to see his daughter. He doesn't have to come back. All lined up perfect. Both of us were blessed. I know why I had to go. And it did refresh me spiritually beyond belief. I got a whole lot of teachings with this guy and got to share some of my understandings and help him and be his little protector, in the white man's world. And it was amazing to me, but it was disturbing too. So I asked Spirit, what do I talk about? Because I'm not going to talk about the ceremonial ways, and I'm not going to talk about what you're supposed to get out of these things. If you're ever invited, make sure it's not a hippie meeting. And if it is a hippie meeting, just understand there's a lot of stuff that goes on. You go in there smoking pot, that medicine's going to do a number on you. You go in there to play around, that medicine's going to turn your stomach and make you sick. And then that stuff follows you out. Like, it's not to be messed with. This stuff is sacred. I can't say that enough times. It's sacred. Don't play with those ways. And I'm telling you, even the shaman stuff, my skin crawls. I get like, people want to be, oh, I'm a shaman medicine man. Really? What tribe are you from? You grow up in those ways? Oh, you took an online class for $2,000, or you went to some $5,000 retreat in Brazil. They are prostituting. This is what I heard from Spirit in the meeting, prostituting the medicines of the native tribal people. That's what that is. You can play with that stuff. It will turn around and bite you in the ass. I'm very cautious about that stuff, very sacred stuff, which is why you guys don't hear me talking about that stuff a lot. And I won't give up their stuff. As it is, there's some of the native people are selling the sacred songs, making recordings, selling them to tourists. It's not meant to be somewhere you go and visit. It's not a vacation. It's not a vacation from your life. It's not a destination. All these kids were talking about, we're reaching for enlightenment. We're going to all go to India. We've been there and we studied and we have these cool crystals and we want to travel the galaxies. And Patrick's head's like, oh my God, what are they talking about? And I had to explain to him what these guys think enlightenment is, right? And a lot of people that follow me think the same way. Oh, I'm going to strive for enlightenment. You know what enlightenment is? It's being awake, aware, in control of your life, your heart, your mind, your body, your relations with everyone, having divine respect for nature, for the air, for the sun, for the moon, for the stars, for the earth, for all the creatures on the earth. That's what enlightenment is. When you can see the connectedness and the sacredness of all life. It isn't about tripping out and using hallucinogen medicine and, oh, my mind opened and I saw these cool colors. That's not what it's about. It's about making connection. That's why we meditate. We don't meditate to reach somewhere. We meditate to connect to the truth of who we are. You can use stones. They will help you when you're working through something. They'll give you some calming energies, some healing energies. But you can't go using these ceremonies and these ways and these prayers and think it's okay. You know, if you're Hindu, stay Hindu. If you're Buddhist, stay Buddhist, right? The Buddha's Dalai Lama will tell you this is a way of life. It can be integrated into any of your beliefs. And because he said that, fine. But they don't do ceremony. Buddhism isn't about ceremony. But these other ones, like the ayahuasca from Brazil, in South America, that's a medicine meant to be done in ceremony. The way it's done here in the US and Canada, you sit in a room with a plastic shaman guy, you pay money, you take the medicine and you trip out for 12 hours. And that stuff, I've heard lots of stuff about people literally getting their part of their soul stuck on a dark dimension with dark creatures. I have a couple of people I know that ended up in the mental hospital and still aren't right. That's what that stuff does to you when you're not using the medicines right, but you don't mix them. You don't do ayahuasca. Oh, next weekend I'm going to do peyote. Next weekend. No, do mushrooms. And that's what this turned. It was like a bunch of Burning Man stuff. Music festivals, hippies, like, let's go try this drug and try that drug and strive for enlightenment, you know, and we'll play like we're doing the ceremony, but we're not even keeping the protocols. We're not even respecting this man, this elder with intense teachings, not respecting his way. And I saw it Sunday night when we went into the Hindu temple. They were so upset that these people just walked in and just kind of acted like no big deal during their worship. I'm not into the whole Hindu thing at all. I've read about it. I've studied it. It doesn't resonate with me at all. Navajo teachings do. Native American teachings do. But I also am not stupid enough to think I know much about it. And there's so many, a lot of the natives, their teachings are oral, handed down orally. They're not written down. You can't copy them. It's a way of life. They hand them down. You can't just go to Navajo country and go find a medicine man. You can. Don't get me wrong. There are some medicine men out there that you can pay them and they'll do a ceremony. It's not real. And they'll take advantage of you. But you know what? They've been taken advantage of. My friend, you can't get in with that family. They're not going to share their traditions with you. You don't share that stuff outside. Not like that. But that's separate from Native American church. There's a lot of white Native American churches out there. A lot of stuff goes on in those ceremonies that isn't supposed to be there. And eventually it turns the other direction and gets bad on the people. So the one message I want to get through to all of you and let you know I'm back and I am working. Right after this, I'll be starting to take calls again. We are doing Charm Life tonight. The miracle of my trip was just like, I couldn't have asked for anything better. I haven't laughed for belly laughed my butt off so much in so long. And just to be able to laugh and share stories and heart and spirit and all of that with my friend was just amazing. It was amazing. And the signs and the messages from spirit I was getting, and he was sharing stuff like it was nothing like I expected, and I've sat up in ceremony a lot. Nothing like I expected, far better than I could have predicted. Not the ceremony itself, although it was eye-opening and I learned a lot. It was just different. It wasn't what I was, and I wasn't disappointed. And I wasn't disappointed it was shut down early. Like I'm the one that made that call. He was going to do the ceremony, and I said, no, you can't. We got to go. And I'll tell you why in the car. But let's get out of here. And we were trapped in there. We had to get the guy to open this 2,000-pound gate that had been broken, get them to open it for us to get out. We had to wait till 1:30. It was pouring rain. I was freezing. He was freezing. I'm like, this is not worth getting sick over for these people. They don't respect you. And I'll tell you in the car. Like, I wasn't going to do it there. Got to be careful who you follow. Because here's the last part of this. The guy who's running the meetings up there, the white guy, heard rumblings about him being arrested. My friend didn't know much about that. Has known him for a couple of years. Someone introduced. He runs meetings up there, ceremonies up in Canada. And I could see a lot of dark. I got home Wednesday, yesterday. Today's Thursday, right? Did a background search on him real quick, just on Google. What his darkness was, he murdered somebody. Seriously, he murdered somebody. Because I saw a dark anger in him, and I saw some disrespect beyond belief. Now he's hiding within the native culture and the hippie culture. He's got these 20-year-old kids following him. They're all studying Hinduism, looking at crystals, trying to do crystal gazing and become psychic, right? Become enlightened. They're following this guy who has a big fat record, and he killed a guy senselessly. I found an article online that in Toronto in 2006, he got in a cab, robbed the cab driver who was Indian. It was his last fare of the night. He stopped. He was going to stop before that, but he picked this guy up. Not going to say his name. Picked this guy up, according to the article. The guy robbed him and killed him, stabbed him to death. The guy died. And then this guy went to Vancouver from Toronto. And then they found him, and he was convicted in 2010. He's out. My friend didn't know any of this till I showed him the article and the picture. And he's like, oh my God, that was once we were home. Like, literally, you guys, that's why I'm telling you, spiritual tourism is dangerous. These people look like and they all had the lingo. They all spoke like they knew, but there's a certain way they talk. The white guys talk about these ceremonies. They all talk, try and mimic each other, make it sound like they get it. My ex-boyfriend who introduced me to my friend, right? My ex-boyfriend talked that way. And as soon as we got there, there's a little coincidence. He drives the same truck as Lord did. Oh, he talks just like, and my eyes are open. I'm watching all of this. But when we got home, I showed my friend, I said, I'm going to find out what that darkness is. I'm going to find out what he got arrested for. Murder. We were sitting up in a remote area all night with this guy and his friends, these kids that follow him, all doing this. Little girl, 20-something-year-old girl, lost. She's looking for peace. She's hurting, lonely, trying to ask my friend for, she kept going, oh, medicine man, can you tell me? He's like, there's no magic here. This isn't magic. Get away from these guys. He was trying to tell her in the nicest way, get away from these guys. Go find someone to help you. And she's like, oh, like he's a master. He's like, I'm no one. I'm no one. Like, I'm human. It's not about me. It's about the ceremony. It's about the medicine. It's about the fire. It's about the sun. It's about spirit. And she's wanting him to heal her, do something for her. And he's like, go get help, but get away from them. All these 20-year-olds, these are the people, vulnerable, gullible, following this guy. And he's a convicted murderer. And apparently wasn't his first offense. He has a long rap sheet. He got arrested in Vancouver because he tried to skip out of the country on expired papers, and they nailed him. He got a 12-year sentence and only served a little bit. This is the guy that we were doing the ceremony for. This is the guy with all these followers, and everyone thinks, oh, they think he's native. I asked his wife, he ain't native. Like, he knows a bunch of natives. And he's taken their stuff, and now he's big shaman man, big medicine man. No, be careful. Like, seriously, this is my warning to you guys. You'll never hear me talk about it again, probably, unless you ask me one-on-one. But it was disturbing. And I was very upset, like the way they treated my friend. He didn't notice. He has so much patience for them. He tried to teach them how to do what was meant to be done in the ceremony. And this guy's taken over. And then he goes out to do part of the ceremony outside in the rain. And they're talking about him. And they're totally disrespecting the protocol, and they're standing up and they're moving around. No wonder they were all throwing up all night. Like, seriously, I'm like, oh my God, we're never going to get through this ceremony. You guys keep getting sick. Medicine didn't want to be in them. The medicine was teaching them. Stop messing with it, right? Stop messing with these ways. Stop messing with this stuff. But outside of that ceremony, it's going to follow them too. It's going to follow him. All that stuff, the way they treated him, very disrespectful, very bad. So here's my lesson to y'all, because, you know, we talked about it too. He and I being in the position that I'm in, where you guys come to me for teaching and you trust me. I'll tell a lot. I'm not your guru. I'm not here to do it for you. You got to do it for yourself. I'll give you tools. This is why I'll give you teachings. I'll give you tools. You have to use them. I don't teach religion. I don't teach anything other than the tools to get you connected. This isn't about some cosmic trip, get out of your life, escape from reality. This is about, how do I live the best life? How do I stay on the forward path? How do I live an upright place? How do I have peace no matter where I am? How do I live a life of love and compassion? That's what I teach. That's what those ways are about. That's what the ceremonies are about. Not about tripping out on ayahuasca medicine or peyote medicine and, you know, be able to tell your friends, look what I got to do. It's not about that. It's sacred. And if you handle your life in a sacred way, whatever your belief system, stick to your way and work that path. Don't go here and go there and like you're on vacation, trying out different spiritual traditions and beliefs. It's disrespectful. That's why the Hawaiians have such a hard time with all the white people that come in there, disrespecting the volcano, the water, the beaches, their mountains, the land, disrespecting it, polluting it, because their beliefs too are that you respect the water. You don't have control over those elements. You better show it some respect, because those are living beings, and they will come back and smack you. No joke, that river changed directions. 50 feet from last year, it moved over. It's taken out their teepee grounds, and there's more to come. Big, huge lessons for me. And I mean, it was great to be a part of it. And I love that I got to hang out with my friend. My God, got to laugh and share things, and we got super, super close. And, you know, I'm going to learn some more stuff, and I'm going to learn more of their ways, and because I am part of their family. They call me sister. That's a huge honor. His wife wasn't there because she doesn't travel with him. He had me do part of the ceremony that his wife does. And I'm like, don't pick me. And he's like, you're the only one. Do it. And I tried my best to keep it sacred and holy. And those people in that ceremony disrespected that too. And that just, it blew my mind. I wanted to cry, but at the same time, I was really angry. So it's taken me 2 days to not, you know, be angry. You know, I consider myself white, which is funny because I'm not native, like I'm non-native, but you know, I'm not white, but like, and I don't think like the white man. And when I say white man, I mean the colonial white man. I mean the people out there with no spiritual backing, with no understanding, that think this is all fun and games. And they see dream catchers and they're like, ooh, look what I got. And they see feathers and they wear them in their hair at these music festivals and these Burning Man stuff and all this hippie culture. That's not spiritual practice. It's not. It's showmanship. Even these people with these fans, they've bought from him, these collectors or these people that sit up in the ceremonies, the non-real ceremonies. They show their fans. Like, I didn't even pull mine out. See that box back there? Wherever it is, my cedar box right there. I brought mine into the meeting. Yes, it is white privilege. Thank you, Bernie. That's the word. I was going to bring it to pray with it because it's sacred. That fan was made for me from my friend, like to carry the prayers. When I watched how disrespectful they were when he went outside at midnight, put my fan under my chair, my box. You're not coming out. You people don't deserve that to carry those. I literally did not. And when you're in there that long, the fire gets super hot and your face burns. Like it's hard. And there's a time that fire lit up heavy duty. I was sweating my butt off, and I had only had 20 minutes sleep the night before. When we got there, here and there, I couldn't sleep in that house where this guy was. It was his house, the one who was a murderer, like literally. I'm going to think of him that way too. But I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't figure out why. My friend was fast asleep. He can sleep anywhere. He can sleep sitting up. He's so cute. I couldn't sleep. So, I drove us all the way up there Sunday night. I slept maybe 20 minutes here and there, maybe 2 hours of sleep that night, maybe. Then all the way through the ceremony, we stayed up all night. I didn't get to sleep until Tuesday night when we got home. Sat up all night, drove all the way home, 6 hours, crossed the border home. And thankfully, because of the prayers, even though I was exhausted, as soon as we got off those teepee grounds, my prayers hit and they kept me awake, because I said, please give me the strength to get me home. I wouldn't normally drive like that. Like I've had to do it from Arizona to Colorado when I sat up with them at their place, but I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. And then the medicine just hit. Boom, clear, wide awake, like I had coffee. Stopped, got us a big cup of coffee, went to the bathroom, straight home, 6 hours. I was like, yes, we made it home. Those are the blessings that I get to walk with. And I am very, very happy that I have these things that intersect in my life. And I have been blessed. And I know many of you guys wish you could experience those things. And maybe you can once you get your spiritual walk straight. But you don't go seeking those things, because you'll find the fake ones. You'll find the shamans, right? And I'm not joking when I say that's plastic stuff. My friend and I talked about it. He said, oh, these guys out there calling themselves shamans and selling this stuff and selling these prayers. That's not real. Like, it's a joke within the native cultures, the indigenous cultures. It's a joke to them because it's not real and people are paying them for it. Be careful with that. You'll never, those systems are closed. They're a way of life. They're not just something spiritual that you go take part of. It's a way of life. Those children learn from the very beginning of their lives, and they don't even get to attend half the ceremonies until they've reached a certain part of their journey. They don't sit up in those ceremonies. They don't get to take part in those ceremonies. They have to earn it. You have to earn it. When you're invited, that's a blessing, but you have to show those people respect. But it's no different. I wouldn't walk into a Catholic church like I own the place and disrespect the ways of the way they do things. I wouldn't walk into a Jewish temple and act the way these people did in the Hindu temple and in the teepee. I would never do that, but they did it both places. That's why I had to find out who these people are. But I've seen it more than there. I saw it in Northern California in a place called Grass Valley, a hippie meeting I walked out on because it was making me sick when I was already sick with the cancer. My ex-boyfriend was a hippie. He knew all these people, part of the Native American church. He got brought into this family. They pushed him out too. But, there's all these people out there that are like that. They drop names. I know so-and-so, and that's what they're doing with my friend. I'm like, I'm going to protect you from this stuff. From now on, you come talk to me before you go messing around and giving your teachings and your medicine and prayers to these people who are just using you. And it's just a vacation stop. It's just oh, look, I had this experience. Oh, look, I went on this trip. Oh, look, I did mushrooms and went on a vision quest. None of that's real, you guys. So be careful. I want you guys to do this right. Like, seriously, because when you start messing with that stuff, things go wrong in your life. I don't know any other way to tell you, but to tell you that. So for those of you who want to know how my trip went, it was amazing. It was really cool. But, don't drink the purple Kool-Aid. Exactly, Laura. Yeah. That was my first experience in Canada. Right. These are the first people I actually met in person in Canada. My ex-husband's from Canada, but I've never been. So it was an interesting trip to be out there. And that's the thing too. I'm like, Patrick, we're in a different country. We're in a different country. And with this kind of people, like, holy cow. If they had gotten in trouble for anything and we're with them and we're from America, we could get ourselves in trouble. You gotta be careful with this stuff. And he's got people coming up there doing these ceremonies with them all the time. Nobody knows what he's about. I saw right through it the minute we saw him. Like, there's something with this guy, man. I don't trust him. But, you know, I never was afraid. I'll tell you guys that, because my daughter's like, weren't you terrified? I'm like, no, I know because of what I went there for, I was protected. And there was a reason I was there. I was there to be my friend's eyes and ears, because that's not the first time he's been up there. He went another time with one of his other friends. But he had a funny feeling about going up there this time, and he wasn't sure. Every other time he's been up there, it's been other natives from the tribe up there. There's no one from the tribe up there. It was all white hippies. Seriously. Oh, honey, I'm not judging any Canadians over it. There's a group, and whether it's America, Canada, Costa Rica, Mexico, a lot of the ceremonies, they go to these ceremonies in Mexico. Ayahuasca, peyote ceremonies in Mexico, you know, and take part in all of that, doing the same thing to the traditional Mexicans with their indigenous beliefs, the Mayans, right? They're getting taken advantage of too by the same people. But there's these groups of people that travel around to all these white hippie NAC meetings and ayahuasca meetings, and they have no idea who they're messing with. Like, this guy's a narcissist, just like my ex. And they're all running these things. There's a whole group of them in Hawaii. A group of them in India now. They're going into India and doing these ceremonies, mixing it with the Hinduism stuff, mixing it with yoga retreats. You know, like this David Wolf guy. This guy's wanting my friend to let David Wolf come to his place. So what? He can do one of his spiritual tourist things where he takes people out into my friend's property, the sacred lands there, for $5,000? No. That's not going to happen. It's such a joke, like, and so disturbing to me that, and I know this stuff goes on, and I'm not insulated. I can see right through it. And it's never hit me the way it hits me when it's my friend and they're my family there. Like, my family, that is why I dropped everything and cleared my schedule. They took me in as a sister. They are my family. Something happens to me, my kids know, my dad knows, they saved my life. They brought me in and did their medicine, did their prayers, taught me. They saved my life. Anything ever happens, even once I'm gone with that family, and they call and say, I need something, my family drops everything and goes. My dad gave me his car to go up there, trusted me to go another country with this guy, not knowing anything. I was like driving back on, oh my God, my dad's going to kill me. And when I found out this guy was a murderer, I'm like, oh my God, if my dad only knew. Like, I was praying and apologizing to my dad from the car. I'm like, I'm so sorry I came up here in your car. Oh my God. But we needed safe travel. And I think my car, funny enough, today was the first time I drove my car. My tire light came on and it's blinking like my sensor went on. I hit a curb. I don't know what that's about. But a bunch of stuff too. My kids got hit Sunday. As soon as I left, Bella got hit. Bunch of drama surrounding her. My other daughter, stuff started going wrong for her the other day. Not feeling good, getting hit, depression hit. My cousin, stuff started affecting her, heaviness, right? And these are the things that happen with this work that we do, me and my friend. Like, our families get hit. When we go and have to deal with these things, we are the strength, right? So then the ones that are the weak link, right? They get hit. So what I talked to you guys about, they go after the weak link, the dark. There is dark out there. Be careful. So, yeah, that's the most I'm going to share live on here with you guys. I hope it makes sense. So for those of you who've commented, you're like, oh, I want to go do that. Seriously, you don't get to. And you shouldn't want to go do that. You want to study some of the books, go study the books. But you don't, if that's not what you're going to stick with that path, don't even bother. Like, it's a way of life. There's many things that go into it. It's a movement. It isn't just, I'm going to sit up and say these native prayers or do these native ceremonies. It's a movement. It's a way of looking at things. It's a way of living your life and walking your path. And it's not an easy way. Believe me, when you're that connected like that and you understand the way things actually work, And you're careful. You tread lightly, very lightly, because you know the wind can take you out. The wind gods can take you out. The lightning gods can take you out. The rain can wash you out. The earth can literally swallow you up. The mountains, the trees, the animals. You disrespect those things, those spirit people. You're asking for it, right? So I'm telling you, don't ask for that, you guys. I mean, I know you guys think it's all cool and sexy and, oh, you know, how cool for that, because you've heard these other people talk. They went to these ceremonies and found this shaman. It's not real. No joke. The native people think it's funny. And they just shake their heads and laugh because people actually believe that's the real thing. It's not even close. And it's not easy. It's hard. It's like these kids were all, oh, my body, and they're standing up in the ceremony. You don't do that. Like, you don't do that. You don't even squirm. You suffer on your knees, on your butt. You suffer that 12 hours in that ceremony. You don't move around. You don't talk. You don't interrupt the ceremony. They did all of that. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And you could see just the way the ceremony was moving, and it was so chaotic. Nothing like what I'm used to, like ever. Like the way it moves there, it just like clockwork. And the little kids are trained up. They know. The nephews, they're trained up. They know exactly. He doesn't have to say anything. They know. All he's got to do is look. And they know what they got to do. They know how to run things. They know how to keep it clean. I feel sorry for the kids too. So the only way that we're going to help these lost teenage kids and 20-year-olds looking for stuff, they should know better. Stop smoking pot. Stop doing mushrooms. Stop. You know, medicine is in marijuana, but it's not meant to be smoked. It's medicine. It's a plant. It's meant to be extracted to be used as medicine. Not for all this recreational stuff. It's like spirituality for a lot of people, from everything I saw with, and there was a big group of people that they were bringing around, you know, and stopping by to visit with the big medicine man. It's not meant to be like that. Like, just because you met him doesn't, it's like the people that go and see the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama is not magical. Anything magical about him is because he prays. He meditates. He has connection, which gives him information and access to the spiritual realms. These kids need to stop this. All this Burning Man crap and these music festivals and the rainbow festivals and the hemp festivals and the flower festival. We were talking about all the different ones. Like, oh my God, it's like, no. Like, that's not it. But they're all thinking they're going to find enlightenment. They go on this yoga retreat in India and, you know, go to the sacred sites in Peru and pay these guys $5,000 to take them and sit through these shaman ceremonies. They're not real. I know most of you that follow me are older, but there's some of you that have even older. You're still on this thing of, well, let me try this then. Let me try that. Try to live your life in the most upright way you can out of your ego, right? This is why I teach Charm Life. The teachings never change. They don't change. It's the same work every day. Life work. It's not about experimenting with this stuff. You know, I'm blessed, but I've studied my butt off and I pray my butt off and I walk that path. You know, I don't know how I got to be so blessed. They think that part of whatever, like I was coming a long time ago, like the way that everything lined up. We talked about all the coincidence, all the synchronicities before I met them, how everything lined up for me to meet them and for them to say yes, for the family to take on my cancer. And I don't take that stuff lightly. Like, I appreciate it. And I am so respectful. And my kids know. My daughter, Bella, sat up with me too. She's been to ceremonies with me. She was there with me. My cousin Bernie, she was there with me at my cancer ceremony. But Bella, you know, we talked about it. We're going to do one for her because she's going to be turning 18. And she wants to learn the ways. And she wants to learn the songs. And she was given a feather from my friend's brother, from his fan. Like, he presented that to Bella at my meeting. Like, it's like, I was wondering why this wouldn't stay in my fan. It's for you. You're special. And she's always been very respectful and honored that that's the deal. So, yeah, I mean, I love those ways. They resonate with me, and whatever indigenous blood that I do have, because they're very similar to, from what one of the guys in Arizona was telling me, very similar to some of the Filipino original indigenous cultures, their beliefs, their ceremonies, how they walk, how they hold things, same kind of way. Same in Mexico. A lot of the way they do it, same way, right? Carries forward. So they said that's why I'm able to take the medicine. They were expecting me to puke the first time they gave me a big old ball of it. Let's see what happens with her. And I didn't get sick. I just prayed. And they're like, all right, that's our sign. She can handle it. Let's do it. And then they brought me in and started teaching me. And I didn't talk. I listened. This is the first time that me and my friend actually talked. He asked me questions and I felt okay with answering those questions. Before, I would just stay quiet because I totally respect him. I don't think I could teach him anything, share anything. But then he said, I don't understand what goes on with the white people. Like, you know, I don't understand why they would do that. And it's like, because they're all about the money, dude. Like, that's the deal. They're all about the money. They didn't even give him an offering. He went all the way up there. I said something about that when I was doing my part in the ceremony, like the sacrifice he makes to leave his family and come out here and do this for you guys. You're not native. He's coming out here to do this for you guys. Disrespectful. They don't even understand the sacrifice. He's leaving his family. He's leaving his comfort zone. He's leaving his sacred land to come out here, another country, do this. You want to treat him like that? Mm-mm. No, it is not going to go well for them. Spirit doesn't work that way. So I hope you guys, some of you learn. You see any of this hippie stuff going on out there, don't jump into that stuff. And if you're in it, man, you just stay that way. Stay that way. Go smoke your pot and do your stuff. Go do your meditation and your yoga on your pot. Stay that path. Don't be mixing it over here. Don't be going into native ceremonies doing it over there. Don't be trying the ayahuasca and think you can bring that into the Native American church and the peyote ceremonies. No. And don't take the peyote ceremony stuff and try and take it into the ayahuasca. It's not how that works. It's disrespectful to the spirits that oversee that. Totally disrespectful. Get yourself into some trouble too, on a high level, on your soul level. So that's my message to you. That's what Spirit wanted me to bring back with you. I think I've talked about spiritual tourism before, but not to this length. And I know that was a really long one. Didn't know that was going to go that way. Wasn't sure how much I was going to share with you guys, but because of what happened, I was like, oh my God, we just spent 2 days with this guy in control at a cold-blooded murder. Killed a cab driver, robbed another car after that, tried to run Vancouver from Toronto, finally got caught. Cold-blooded killer with a record. I mean, the wanted thing that they had on him before they caught him was he's armed and dangerous. Don't approach him. Call the police. Like that kind of guy. I spent 2 days with that kind of guy. Oh my God. We're blessed. We're all good, you know, and I don't think them kids know. Maybe they do. They all look strung out. One of the kids that follows him saw pictures of him before. See pictures of him now. He looks like he's strung out on some kind of meth. You know, he came into the ceremony. He was one that was going to have a ceremony done for him. They don't know me. They don't know my name. They don't know what I do. They asked me who I was. I said, I'm his driver. That was it. I'm just here to drive. I live in Washington. I'm like, what do you do for work? I own a t-shirt company. Like, nothing. I didn't want him coming up to me. Oh, tell me my fortune. Tell me what my crystals do. Seriously, like, did not want them to know me. Hopefully they don't go searching his profile and looking for me. But like, I don't want nothing to do with him. I seriously don't, unless that little girl that he was talking to, telling her to get away, she somehow finds me. I prayed for that. I prayed that, you know, the wife, girlfriend person, she gets back to the U.S. because she's a U.S. citizen and she has a kid with him. And prayed that she gets away and has her eyes open because she's being controlled and manipulated. Like, that's what goes on in those shaman things. Like, seriously, watch out. Greed, money, all that stuff. But I'm lucky because they didn't know me. I'm like, I'm nobody, man. Humble driver. That's all I am. Just here to get him here for you. And little did they know, I'm here to protect him and tell him what's really going on out here and make sure that he keeps his ways sacred, doesn't hurt himself. It's funny that he said, I know, I don't know. He goes, this wasn't planned, you and I coming up here. I said, no, it was so last minute. He goes, but I just felt like I needed, to invite you. I'm glad you came. Yeah, I'm glad I came too. Oh my gosh. And I would have never forgiven myself had I not been there and something happened to him. He got stuck there for a week and got sick, and he would have, because that energy around all of them is very drug-like sick. That stuff rubs off on you. Takes some ways. You have to go home and do some prayers, and he is going to have to go home and do some of his ceremonies and clearing. I'm doing my own prayers and clearing and doing 7 days worth of smoke from my meeting, because I had tobacco from my meeting that when things go on, I pray with. So now me and Bella sitting outside for 7 days together, praying for ourselves, praying for our family in Arizona, the Navajos, and that all of this stuff, now that it's out in the open and they can see it, that everyone there gets educated of who to watch out for and what to watch out for, because now they understand what narcissism is. He understands the greed. He understands the fake spiritual tourism thing, and he didn't understand it before. And he's tried to ask people, no one would tell him, or they couldn't explain it in a way he could understand. Oh, honey, it's not sad that I had to go through. I had a blast. Like, seriously, I didn't want it to end. When I dropped him off in Portland yesterday, I was so bummed. I was like, oh, we should just go on a trip. So he asked me to travel with him again when he gets taken other places. He travels the world doing these things. And I said, yeah, I'll go with you. Just let me know. I'll come with you. Yeah, absolutely. Because I can see things he can't. Yeah, he can recognize it with natives. He can't recognize it out here. They aren't exposed to the ways that we think. They're not exposed to everything's about making money. It's not exposed to the deception, because that's not how they are, right? Not exposed to that stuff. He was thinking that, like, well, if they ask me to do something, they actually want to learn. That's not why they're asking you. They're asking you because they want to steal your name and say, I know this guy. They want to steal your name because you're famous out there, people that know about the natives. That's why they're asking you to do this stuff. But it's not because they care. It's not because they want to walk that path. They think that they, like that girl said, where's the magic? Help me learn magic. He's like, there's no magic here. I'm not magic. I'm nobody. I'm here to do the ceremony. I'm here to do the prayers. That's all I do. The rest is up to what you get, not me doing it. I tell you guys the same thing. It's not me doing it. What you get is what Spirit decides you get based on who you are and what you put forth. Nobody has a magic pill. All this healing energy work, instant quick fix. Take a pill, take a mushroom, take ayahuasca, take this, take such crap. Go to this healer, go to that shaman, go on this retreat. It's crap, right? I haven't even done a Charm Life live retreat. I want to do one with you guys to sit down and push you through that work. I'm not doing the work for you, though. Like any of you that work with me know, I will not do the work for you. I will give you the teachings, give you the tools. You do the work. It's the only way your life's going to change, and stick to that path. Whatever path you choose, stick to it unless Spirit directs you someplace else. Like I got directed out to the Navajos, wasn't even looking for it. And that's the way, that's the way my heart is. And that's the way Spirit's pulling me and has continued to pull me. But I didn't go looking for it. It wasn't because I went looking for someone. It was brought to my doorstep when I was sick after my prayers. So for those of you who are like, oh, I'm going to go find a way to get into don't. It will turn on you. You want to go study Hinduism? Fine. Keep it clean into their beliefs. Don't be mixing shit. Don't be playing with this stuff. You don't play with Spirit. So I love you guys. Those of you in Charm Life, I'll see you. Those of you in Patreon, I will do the weekly forecast now. I know it's going to be late, but it's not going to be Sunday. It'll either be later tonight or tomorrow. Now that I'm home and I'm working, I've got to catch up. I've got like 5,000 emails waiting for me to sort through. And if you want to book, I'm going to open my schedule up when I hit end live video. My schedule will open up, and then y'all can hook in. If you want to talk to me today before 4 o'clock, so in the next 3 hours, message me, and I'm going to take them in order. First come, first serve, because I wasn't supposed to be here until Sunday. So now you guys can get in with me. I had a couple people hit me up this morning, but now I said I would come on this afternoon. And now that I've gotten that out, because I've been holding that for 2 days, what do I share with them, Spirit? What do you want them to know? What's the lesson for them? And really, it's just beware. Beware of what's out there. Beware of who you're following. And even a couple of these guys, these yogis from India, there's a couple of them traveling around here. People pay big money to go see. They follow the teachings. One of them last year or the year before, I was really had a funny feeling because someone invited me to one of the things with him. Looked him up, and he's got all kind of like arrests and sexual allegations against him, sexual assault. I mean, crazy stuff like that is what goes on. Like, seriously, this guy up here, something happened in one of his sweats, and some white lady was like upset because some guy that was helping him run the sweat touched her body and made her uncomfortable. This stuff goes on. You got to be careful what you're around people like that. They're going to disrespect you too. And then you get put in a dangerous spot. And it's not like people haven't died in Brazil going to shamans and doing ayahuasca. It's not like people haven't died going to these vision quests on mushrooms in the US. They have. And Canada. I mean, it's dangerous stuff, messing around with this stuff. Be careful. Make sure you're called to do this stuff. Don't go looking for the wrong place. But here's the reality. Your spiritual walk and your spiritual beliefs, you should be able to hold them, learn them, speak with spirit, whether you're sitting in the bathroom, you're sitting in a temple, you're sitting on the curb, right? Or you're sitting in the middle of the desert. You don't need to go anywhere to find spirit. Spirit's inside of you, and it's all around you. Spirit people are all around you. You don't need going on some vacation to go find it. Because then when you get back, just all leaves. Should be able to follow you wherever you go. You go to work, there's spirit. You go to the grocery store, there's spirit. You go to the post office, there's spirit. You go out, chop wood, there's spirit. Cleaning dog poop out of my lawn, there's spirit. Washing dishes, there's spirit. Right? Doing laundry, there's spirit. Cooking dinner for my kids, there's spirit. Right? Everywhere. That's how spirituality is meant to be. Spirituality is a walk. It's a way of life. It's a connected, sacred way of life, however you practice it. But don't be trying to blend all these practices. Then you get yourself in all kind of problems and drum up all kind of karma from the spirit world. And that was one of the biggest eye openers, because now I'm going to keep an eye on, because I know it's coming. Every now and then, spirit will bring someone like that across my path, and I know it's coming, and I watch. And boom, boom, boom. My friend said too, not going to go well with that one. And that was all playing out in the ceremony too. Not going to go well. Watch what happens. So, and I hope that he gets removed, but there's a lot of people like him. He's not the only one. He's about the fifth one I've met since being, since 2015. He's about the fifth guy I've met out there running these ceremonies, and they all have followers. It goes on in Northern California, goes on in here in Washington too, goes on here, goes up in Canada. I know there's some over in Oklahoma, over in Hawaii. There's a bunch on Oahu, Maui, Big Island, Kauai. A lot of that stuff goes on there. Costa Rica is another place. A lot going on in Mexico, Peru now. I mean, it's everywhere, you guys. So just beware. Yeah. All right. That was an hour. You guys got to catch up with me. I got to catch up with you. The next one will be better, I hope. I hope this wasn't a bad one for you guys, but I knew this wasn't going to be an easy one. It's not my normal live stream. And it comes with lots of warnings, but it's a teaching nonetheless. Sometimes it's funny because my friend and I were talking too, the teachings, it's hard to get teachings. There's lessons in it. It's not meant to feel good all the time. It's not, those teachings are there to help cleanse away the darkness, cleanse away the hardness, smooth away the rough edges. Lao Tzu and Confucius, that's what they teach, right? Smooth away those edges, sand them off. Like, they're there for a reason, but they're not easy ways. They're not easy ways. So we got to uphold those ways, you know. That's why not every hippie in town is after me. It's funny because my friend goes, when I first heard about you from your ex-boyfriend, I thought you were one of those, he said, people in Sedona, because they're close to Sedona. So he's like, I thought you were one of those psychics in Sedona. He goes, you're not a psychic. I was like, but that's all people understand about my gifts. He goes, but that's not you. You're not like those people. I was like, no, I'm not. He goes, I thought you were one of those people till I met you in person. And then I didn't understand why he called you that. Like, you're not one of those people. He's like, you're real. That's why we brought you in. I was like, yeah, I'm glad you see that now. He goes, no, I saw it when I first met you. He goes, I just didn't understand. He said you were a psychic like them and you were a healer like them. And all I could think of was the shaman people in Sedona. And he goes, but when I met you, I felt something totally different. My whole family saw something totally. You're just like us. You know, we need people like you to come share your gifts. And I'm like, right on. You know, and no, I'm not. But that's how out in the world, you know, when people come to me and they understand, how do you guys understand what I am? So I was asking you, how do you see? Like, what do you call me? Call me a psychic, even though that's not really how I identify myself. It is the way that the world sees me or needs to see me to understand what gifts I have and what work I do and what that work is capable of doing for you. I learned too. See, I learned too. So, all right, guys, I love you. Long one. Sorry about that. Hopefully you learned something, and hopefully this video helps some of you avoid getting taken with these ceremonies and helps you guys avoid the danger. You know, me and my friend are always protected, but some of you guys don't have that same kind of protection, and you go get involved in this stuff, it can go sideways. I would hate for that to happen to you. So I love you. Charm Life. I'll see you at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. Tonight we're on. Haven't picked a topic. Who knows what Spirit wants to do right now? I'm just leaving it open and flowing with everything. Those of you who want to book with me, like I said, I'm going to open the schedule right after I do this. And then if you want to talk to me right away, just message me and I'll put you guys in order. All right. See you later.